Hi there, meteorologist Ed Valley here. Happy Friday. Quick long-range video for you today. This video is going to focus on two things. It's going to focus on the active return of weather here later next week, and then we'll touch on the 16 to 30 day we issued here earlier this morning. And the big story here is a fairly chilly look possible to end November and open December. That does piggyback off of our winter forecast we issued here not too long ago, back at the end of October. So we'll talk about that here. And again, the big thing is the ups and downs, and that's the key. Obviously, this week was cold. This week coming is much warmer. However, we are going to turn wetter eventually. But in the meantime, I've gotten a lot of texts of, hey, can we get 5-6 more days? I'm almost done. I think you can. That's the good part here. I think outside of a sprinkle in North Dakota today, really the only rain is found in the Northwest and Florida. That's pretty much it. So as we head through the weekend, notice these red lines coming in. That's warmer temperatures as this low pressure system hangs around off the coast. And as of right now, we're dry through Sunday. We're dry even into Monday. We are watching a system for Tuesday across the upper Midwest that might bring some light rain and snow showers. That could move into the Ohio Valley Tuesday night into Wednesday. Does not look like a big system. Right now, for totals on that, we're looking at a trace to maybe as much of a half an inch, but generally speaking, this is not a big system. The bigger system arrives Wednesday into Thursday with wind and some moisture across the belt, and might even have some snow across the northern plains for the end of the week. That'll drag a big cold front through the belt late in the week, and colder air is going to be ushered in behind this system. How cold remains to be seen, but it does look like we're going to have a return towards late fall, early winter conditions late next week and into next weekend. And again, this system for the middle of the week could be pretty significant here. By the end of the week, we're looking at 1/2 to 2 inches of moisture, northern plains, upper Midwest, and the Ohio Valley. So a pretty interesting forecast possible late next week. But again, the key here is look at how dry it is really through Monday night. Nothing. Now, again, that system early in the week might bring some rain to the upper Midwest and parts of the Ohio Valley, but the bigger system accumulates Thursday into Friday with that big system. So that's what we're watching through next week. Now, temperature-wise, you're going to notice this weekend we're warming. It's in the 70s west today, well into the 70s for tomorrow, 60s as far east as western Illinois. Then everybody's in the 60s for Sunday except for North Dakota. So it's a pretty nice warming trend here. Monday's still warm. Tuesday, you're not too bad, but that first system brings temps back to normal, back in the 50s and 40s. Still warm south. But look at Wednesday and Thursday as that system moves in. Behind that system, Friday, Saturday, these are high temperatures, 30s and 40s returning. Much more like mid to late November, no doubt about it. And by next Monday, again, we rebound a little bit, but 30s and 40s north and central, 50s to near 60s south. A trend definitely in the colder direction for the middle of the month. Now, looking at this forecast, I want to talk about that transition because it's going to come with that moisture. You see the big system on day 7, that's Thursday evening next week. But then by day 10, you notice the high latitude blocking is starting to develop. And by day 11, you see it's cold in the northeast. Okay, so we have a ridge popping here in the west. We got a ridge coming into Greenland. What that typically does is it opens the door for additional cold shots either into New England or the center of the United States, depending on the orientation and the strength of that block in Greenland. So you notice the Greenland block is not that strong. Okay, you notice by day 12, 13, 14, and 15, it's a weak Greenland block. So there is going to be some colder air here in the 10 to 15 day. You look at that period, you see it doesn't look all that impressive. Day 15 itself, though, you're starting to see a wider or a more widespread colder risk across the central U.S. You look at the GFS, it's a little bit more stout with the southeast ridge. That's another thing to keep in mind here. So the GFS also has that deep trough around day 10, but in the 10 to 15, we're starting to see a couple things. We're starting to see, again, this western ridge, and notice how this Greenland block is kind of weak. That to me actually almost prefers the GFS over the European, because without a strong Greenland block, this cold is going to go into the central US and not the east. Okay. So when you see this day 15 look, that makes more sense to me versus the European, which is further east with the cold. The Canadian is also further east. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic here as we get into next week, watching how this cold is going to perform. But you notice as we head into the 15 to 20 day, the cold is definitely more focused in the central US, and that's because the difference in the strength of that blocking. Notice a strong, more warmer color in Alaska, whereas this Greenland block is more neutral or just light yellow. See that? So when you get this ridge to pump up, you're going to get the downstream reaction of colder weather, right? So to us, it does seem to favor the central US for colder risk to end the month of November towards that Thanksgiving holiday. You notice as we head into early December here, that southeast ridge is there. So this European model is actually quite warm in the east into early December with the cold back west. The GFS ensemble, however, here as we get into that late November, early December timeframe, notice the blocking near Greenland is stronger on the GFS, which leads to colder risk in the east as well. Whereas if you look at the European, again, you see that near Greenland, there's really no blocking. It's blue, right? Look at the GFS, yellow. That's different. That would be a much colder look for the east versus the central US. So we kind of split the difference for now with a little bit of a lean towards the European model. This is what we came up with for our 16 to 30. Widespread cooler risk in the central and northern belt. Warmer south and east, kind of again taking a compromise. And then it's going to be pretty active, I think, during this period, which is pretty typical of La Nina. And again, when you have these conflicting air masses crashing into each other, you're going to get active, right? So that's kind of the way we're leaning through the first couple days of December right now. Definitely colder than we have been. Also a little bit more active than we've been too. So we'll keep our eye out on this and update you as we get closer. And as always, if you have questions, just let us know. We'll be back on Monday with more.